So you already know that I am S.J. Harrison, voice and performance coach. But what else do you know about me? You may not know that I have been an actor, playwright and producer for over 20 years. I trained at the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art in London. I've had my work as a playwright produced on BBC Radio. I've had work produced, published in academic journals in terms of my investigation into performance, because I am passionate about performance and I love investigating all aspects of performance and how it ties in with our lives and our ability to connect with other people effectively. What you may not know about me as much is that I come from a very multicultural context, and I've lived in 3 different countries. I was born in England, but my dad was from Berkeley, California, and I have spent lots of different periods of my life living in the US or the UK, and I've also lived in New Zealand. And while growing up, my accent would change depending on where I lived. So this is definitely an experience that I bring to my work. The other thing that is way less obvious is that I'm part of a multi-ethnic, multilingual family, because the father of my children is from Guatemala, and I learned to speak Spanish as an adult. So it's not perfect, but I am frequently speaking Spanish, and also became very much part of different Latino community in the US because of my children and their need and the importance I felt for them to connect with that community. So when I coach my clients, I often have people who are multilingual and who are struggling with how to really show up as themselves and yet be well understood. And these 2 things are both very important. If we completely remake ourselves and develop an entirely new accent that doesn't feel true to us, we are only bringing a small amount of ourselves to the table. However, we also need to be clearly understood and make connections with how to communicate best in a very multicultural environment, given that most of my clients are in very multicultural environments. And that's kind of the good news, because they're not alone in that environment, in being from somewhere else or in speaking numerous languages. So one of the things that I'm very sensitive to is empowerment of the individual in true voice, and yet also how to help them to develop more flexibility with how they communicate and speak, so that they are understood, can develop more confidence, and can bring more of themselves to the table. And the blessing for me is that I tend to draw a very wide range of language and ethnicity to my coaching practice, and that's the world that I've grown up in and the world that I'm most comfortable in. So it's a pure joy to get to do this work, and this was the thing I wanted to share with you here. So thank you for listening.